Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer, in that order. Welcome everyone. Today we're going to do a state of the grading companies video, and it's been about 4 months since I last did one of these. Not a whole lot has changed in the last 4 months, some slight things here and there, but going to take a look at the big four grading companies, calling the big four PSA, SGC, Beckett, and CSG. There's of course some others, TAG and HGA and GMA, for example, but these are definitely the biggest four by a wide margin in terms of number of submissions they receive or market share. So just going to go through each one and look at their current cost and turnaround times and some other little factors about each one, and then sort of compare them all to each other at the end and see what's going on. All right, we'll start with PSA, who is your market share industry leader by a wide margin. They seem to have settled at $19 per card for their cheapest option. You do have to be a Collectors Club member in order to get that price. If you're not a Collectors Club member, the cheapest option they offer is $25 per card. To be a Collectors Club member, you need to pay $99 per year. And for Collectors Club members, they sometimes offer monthly specials. There were actually none going on at the time that I recorded this video, but recently there was a $15 per card special for vintage, and also a $15 per card special for non-sports cards. And it's possible by the time I post this video, there will be an April monthly special announced. The $19 value bulk service comes with a 20 card minimum, meaning you have to have at least 20 cards in the order to get that price. There's a max declared value of $499, meaning if after they've graded your card, they feel like it's worth more as a market value more than $499, they may upcharge you for that. And there is an estimated turnaround time of 65 days. Now that's business days, so it's probably a little more than 3 months door to door in real time. All right, next up is SGC, and fairly similar pricing here. Their minimum service ranges between $18 and $24 per card. It depends on how many cards you have in the order. If you have over 50 cards in the order, you can get it as low as 18, and if you only have one card, it gets as high as 24. There's a max declared value at those service levels of $1,500. I'm not actually 100% sure their upcharge policy at the moment. Their website states that they can upcharge you for cards that are sent in at too low of a value level, but I feel like they stated that they don't for modern cards. I know I've recently been upcharged for a vintage card, so I believe it's only for vintage, but I might be wrong about that. Their stated estimated turnaround time for those service levels is 5 to 10 business days. By all accounts, they have been hitting that no problem. By far the industry leader in terms of fast turnaround times. Most orders you send them will be back to you door to door in less than 20 calendar days. All right, next let's check out Beckett, which is BGS for modern and BVG for vintage. And of the big four companies, they're the ones that have made the most notable changes recently, and they definitely needed it. Currently sitting at $16 per card for their cheapest service level. That's without subgrades, and it's $18 per card with subgrades. So just $2 extra for the subgrades. I would say if you're gonna send them cards at $16, you might as well pay the $18 and get the subgrades. As many people, including myself, consider that to be sort of Beckett's nicest feature. They are the only company of the big four at the moment to offer subgrades, and they only offer them on modern cards. The special comes with a 10 card minimum. You gotta have 10 cards in the order to get that price. $400 max declared value per card. And the estimated turnaround time currently sits at 40 to 60 business days. Now again, that's business days, so probably looking at about 3 months or so door to door. All right, and the last company to look at is the new kid on the block, CSG, Certified Sports Guarantee. And they're the cheapest of the big four at the moment, with their bulk service being just $12 per card. That does have a minimum of 25 cards in the order. You got to have 25 cards there to get the $12 price tag. But if you don't have 25 cards, then the minimum price is $15, which still puts them at the cheapest of the big four. The $12 bulk service has a max declared value of $250, and the $15 economy service has a max declared value of $500. Turnaround times, they're very fast. Not quite as fast as SGC, but clearly they're number 2 in this category. Bulk service is a 20-day turnaround time. That's working days, so door-to-door is probably about a month, and economy even less than that. But okay, that being said, let's look at all of them on one chart in terms of cost, max value, and turnaround time for their cheapest option. And CSG is the cheapest. Beckett is a little bit more than them, and then SGC and PSA are sort of tied for the most expensive. But realistically, all of them are fairly close in terms of per card cost. The max value, SGC is the biggest grace by far on those. Max value is generally not going to come into play on most orders, and even if it does, it doesn't make a huge impact on things. Turnaround time, SGC is the best. CSG is a close second. And then Beckett and PSA are sort of, much farther back. All right, let's check out some market share data. This is from gemrate.com. And both Neo Cards and Comics and Dustin from the Sports Card Dad do some great breakdown of these numbers every month or so. But These are the number of cards that each of the companies graded in February of 2023. Now, being involved in the hobby, day to day, it sort of feels like the other three companies, meaning not PSA, are growing and sort of gaining market share. But when you look at these numbers, they just really aren't. PSA graded 1 million cards in February of 2023. CSG is second with 100,000. Now, you might be surprised to see CSG second. They're only second because the data here includes non-sports. So they do a lot of Pokemon and Magic the Gathering. If you were just doing sports cards, they would definitely be fourth. But yeah, in terms of total cards altogether, they're second at 101,000, SGC third at 92,000, and Beckett at 63,000. Here's what that looks like on a pie chart, and you can just see, PSA is just the behemoth here, and the other three companies are all fighting for a much smaller piece of the pie. I would imagine any other company not on here, like an HGA or a Tag, or would have less than 1% of the market share. I don't know that for sure, but that would certainly be my guess. And none of them have a pop report. Oh, well, Tag has a pop report. I don't think the others do, but you wouldn't be able to, get that data anyway. So that's what we're calling these for the big four here. And let me just say, from a personal perspective, I think all four of these companies have something to offer. And I'm not just saying that. I truly think that. PSA, just off the top of my head, has the highest resale value. CSG is the least expensive, and in my opinion, the nicest looking slabs. SGC has the tuxedo look. Vintage looks fantastic, and SGC holders are the fastest turnaround times. Best customer service, and BGS has subgrades. I mean, all four of them have something to offer here, and some of the other companies as well. And I think all of them should be considered by everyone in any order. Looking at this, I really wish this was more evenly distributed. I think it would be healthier for the hobby if this pie chart was a little more balanced than just one company, dominating it so much. All right, last thing we'll look at is this chart, and I like to look at this chart every time I do a State of the Grading Companies video, as I just find this very interesting. All four grading companies have the exact same grading scale, 1 to 9, but then they all sort of do their own thing above a 9. And, 10 being gem mint has sort of become industry standard, as PSA, SGC, and CSG all use it. Beckett is now the one company that doesn't do that, and I feel like that is actually hurting them a little bit at this point. 10 being gem mint is really, really the standard. Now, they all have a 10 plus grade except for PSA, and PSA also doesn't have a 9.5. So I find that really interesting that PSA has the most simple scale at the top, and they're the industry leader by far. And I predicted, or maybe speculated would be a better word, a year or two ago, that this was going to hurt PSA in the long run, having the simple scale, whereas these other companies had much more nuances at the top. And I thought collectors were going to really want that, sort of a differentiating between the cards at the very top. I thought subgrades were going to become bigger, but the industry's really gone the other way. Subgrades just aren't significant. I mean, 3 of the 4 companies don't use them at all. Beckett only uses them for modern, and Beckett's, of the 4, probably the company that's lost the most popularity over the last year or two. And PSA having the simple scale at the top really doesn't seem to have hurt them at all. But that's it for your State of the Grading Companies. As always, would love to hear everyone's own personal take on which company you use and why, and what you like about the one you use or don't like, or whatever it is. But really appreciate everyone watching, and see you all again real soon. Thanks, everyone.